Hey everybody, welcome to the first lesson in Linked Accelerator. There's going to be 5 total lessons, and I'm going to do some short videos to complement these so you can learn specific tasks without having to watch entire videos. But in the first week, it's kind of just an intro to the course and really kind of how to create your LinkedIn strategy. So let's get started. So what to expect in this class. By the end of this, you're going to know more than 95% of all LinkedIn users. And I was speaking at a financial advisor conference last year, and one of the people there that was pretty savvy with LinkedIn was telling the other financial advisors the bar is very low with LinkedIn. Right now, there's 330 million people on LinkedIn, but there's very, very few people that know how to use it properly. So after you learn what I'm going to teach you in this class, you're going to be able to be one of the top LinkedIn experts. So I'm going to show you how to add the right people to your professional network. So depending on what your outcome, what you want to use LinkedIn for, if you're a recruiter, obviously you want to build a very large network. But if you're a business owner or you're in a specific niche, you don't need to add everybody to your network. So I'm going to show you how to differentiate who to add and who not to add. And you're going to know how to engage people to gain their trust quickly. That's one of the secrets to LinkedIn right now. You can actually connect with people and they're open to communicating with you right through the LinkedIn networking system or messaging system. And you can become an authority in your niche. The LinkedIn publishing program, and just by posting content frequently, it gives people the perception that you're one of the top leading experts in your field. And I'll tell you, it works really, really well. And you can automate probably 80% of it. And once we optimize your profile, people are going to know instantly how you can help them. And that's the key. I teach the perspective of if really help people out on LinkedIn. Don't try to sell. Don't make your profile a sales letter. Go from the perspective of helping people achieve their goals, and you're going to get much more in return. So here's the class focus. We're going to really help you create your LinkedIn strategy and identify your ideal clients if you already don't know them. But most people I work with don't know who their ideal clients are. It's kind of puzzling to me. I think you get to know what's possible on LinkedIn. Today I'm going to take you on a tour of LinkedIn and show you all these features that are hidden within LinkedIn, because LinkedIn's really terrible at explaining what their system can do for you. There's literally hundreds of different things you can do to help build your network and to connect with people and really get your name out there. Then we're going to build your foundation. That's your profile. I say it's like a little web page. When you drive people to your website, you need to really grab their attention right away. It's the same thing with your LinkedIn profile. And then we're going to focus on building your professional network. Like I said earlier, do you want a small network? Do you want a large network? Somewhere in between. I have about 4,000 people. I've been very aggressive in the last year of growing my network, and it's really paid off. I've gotten a lot of traction. A little more noise on the network now, but it's really at a good level. I'm going to keep growing it too because I'm getting really good results. And then becoming that authority, I'll show you how to use LinkedIn Pulse and how to publish your content and with its status updates and within Publisher, and then get people to actually read that content, which is the key to success. And then LinkedIn search is the gold mine. LinkedIn's a search engine, just like Google. So once you master how to set up your searches and find the people you're looking for, you can automate that. So LinkedIn actually delivers you leads every day or every week right to your inbox. And then we'll get into advanced LinkedIn strategy, using LinkedIn Mobile, a lot of different apps they have, and a lot of their strategies, how to really message people, create messages that people open and respond to. A friend of mine, Joel, sent out 30 messages the other day, and he got 30 people to call him back within like an hour. And he actually got 7 new clients from one message. So I'll show you how to do that. So here's the class format. I'm going to post a new lesson every Friday, so you can watch it over the weekend or throughout the week. And then we're going to have a group call the following Friday to talk about that lesson. So I've been in a lot of classes where they post things on Tuesday and then have a call on Thursday. And it's a little too quick because we all need some time to go through the material and absorb it and actually do our homework. So all the group calls will be recorded. All the lessons will be recorded, obviously. And then some group calls I may have to reschedule due to some speaking engagement I've set up, but I think there's only one so far. But for the most part, they'll be on Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific. And schedule your one-on-one calls at tedpodromo.com/30. Everyone gets 2 one-on-one sessions with me. But we'll do kind of one at the beginning so we can talk about how you're going to use LinkedIn. And I get a sense about your business so I can help guide you through the course. And then you can do one later in the course or after the course is over, which may even be better, so you have time to absorb the material and implement it. And then we have a Linked Success Facebook group. And if you go to tedpodromo.com/FB, that will get you there. It'll redirect it to the site and I'll approve you. So the members area, I created an account for you. So go to login.dmclassroom.com and your username is your email address and your password is LinkedIn0215, unless you set up your own account so you'll know what your login is. And here's the membership area. So we'll have your weekly LinkedIn lessons posted on the first tab. Then when I create these shorter videos, LinkedIn videos, I'll post them under the LinkedIn videos. So they'll be like 3 to 5 minute long videos, really short and very specific topics. So you can just go and figure out how to do one specific task on LinkedIn so you don't have to watch all these long recordings. And I'll post all the weekly group calls in the weekly group section. So if you ever have any problems or questions, email me at ted@tedpodromo.com and I'll help you as soon as I can. So what's your LinkedIn objective? And this goes right along with who's your ideal client. You really need to know who you're looking for, who are your customers, who's your ideal client. If you have a lot of clients now, look at the top 20%, your best customers, and focus on getting more of them. It's better because they always say the 80-20 rule, 80% of your income comes from your top 20% of your clients. So focus on those top 20% and you're going to get much better results. And your LinkedIn objective really is, think, who am I looking for? How do I find them? How do they find me? You build a relationship and you close a deal. So once you know who you're looking for, we can do the advanced searches on LinkedIn or find them in groups. And then they'll find you through content you publish or by your group activities. And that's where you strike up the relationship. And I see it more and more and more with social media. People think you get a license to spam people and sell aggressively to them because you're on social media. But, sales 101 for forever, people don't buy from you till they know, like, and trust you. So you got to build that relationship first. And then the deals will come from that. So if you go from the perspective on LinkedIn of you're not there to sell, you're there to help people and build relationships, you're going to get long-term customers that come back over and over and over and refer you like crazy. So really we're going to focus on this. How do I find them? How do I get found? So I'm going to start with how to get found, actually, because you have to have your profile in order before you start attracting people to it. It's like if you're building a new website and it's only half built, you don't want to start running Google ads to drive people to your half-built website. You got to make a really good first impression or they're gone forever. So we're going to focus on these 3 areas. So here are some outcomes for LinkedIn. You can expand your professional network, which we should all be doing constantly. Create a referral network. I work with a lot of different industries like financial advisors where nobody's going to search LinkedIn to find a new financial advisor. But you can connect with people. Financial advisors can connect with like attorneys and accountants, people that would refer them more business. So you build that referral network that way. And also when people, I saw this stat a few weeks ago, 88% of business professionals will look up your LinkedIn profile before they have a meeting with you or they do business with you. So they are looking at your profile. So you really need to have that in order. Another use of LinkedIn is finding a job, or if you're going to hire new employees. I think 80% of Fortune 500 companies now, I think that was that 80 or 85% are using LinkedIn to hire new employees. And they can really build relationships with people and get to know them through their LinkedIn profiles and then go after. Like my son just graduated from college last year. He's been at his job for about 8 months now. And every week he gets contacted by recruiters with other job opportunities just because his LinkedIn profile has been updated. Another thing is you can connect with former coworkers. I mentioned this in one of my talks where in the 1980s and 90s, I was in the high-tech industry in Silicon Valley, and I had a great business network. But back in those days, we really didn't have email yet. We're just starting to use email. The internet really didn't take off till the mid-90s, and we didn't have personal email addresses or ways or cell phones. I worked for Cellular One, and we had less than 10,000 subscribers in San Francisco Bay Area in the early 90s. So when all these .com companies went out of business, I literally lost touch with most of my business network. And I've reconnected with quite a few more back on LinkedIn now, so it's been a great tool for that. Another thing LinkedIn's great for, it's competitive research. People it's like your resume. People don't lie in your resume. Some people do and they get caught. But in your LinkedIn profile, people put, real information in there. Companies are putting lots of information on this, so it's a huge database of really great information. So you can do a lot of research on your competitors and find out who their customers are potentially and what their problems are through discussions in the groups. So it's a really great research tool. And you can do lead generation with LinkedIn. In my profile, I have lots of videos or PowerPoint presentations, and people can sign up for my email list through those once they go to like SlideShare and watch them. And also I've run LinkedIn ads, which is a great way to get people to attend webinars and download white papers. And you can start a LinkedIn group, build a community. And we'll get into really a lot into that in one of the sections, because if you build a group, literally you can have 1 million people in it, which is great, but it takes a lot of work to grow that group to be that large. And you need to have lots of moderators. It has to be well moderated, or LinkedIn can actually tell you to shut down the group, or people just won't go to the group if there's a lot of spam in there. So LinkedIn groups are fantastic, but you need to really think about your plan for using them and have a lot of moderation. So questions to consider is, who is your ideal client? And I know a lot of you have touched on this, I'm sure, over the years, but you have to review this periodically too, because who your ideal client 10 years ago or 5 years ago is very different from who you're probably trying to attract now. So update it. I try to do it like once a year and identify exactly who my best customers are, who are my repeat buyers, and I want to focus on those kind of buyers. So where do they hang out online, or what LinkedIn groups do they belong to? Who would they be connected with? So you can connect with your ideal clients, and then LinkedIn's algorithm recommends similar people. So LinkedIn's doing all the work for you, showing you similar people to who your best customers are. And then by seeing what they talk about in groups, a lot of times you can see what their big challenges are. What keeps them up at night? What are they asking in the group? What kind of problems are their business having? And how can you help solve their problems? So think of LinkedIn too. People think just because it's online, it's different than if you meet people, and treat it like a networking event where you're going and meeting people face to face and shaking their hands and actually looking face to face to them. Treat it like that. Treat people the same way, and you're going to get incredible results, because for some reason, once you get online, people think you act differently and you can treat people differently, but treat people just like you're meeting people face to face, and you're going to have incredible results. So set daily objectives. This is a real key. I have a schedule. When I start out in the morning, I'll do like 15 minutes, and then I'll do maybe 15 minutes later in the day, but I'll get on there and I'll have a very specific agenda. I'll say I'm going to connect with people for the next 15 minutes, or I'm going to answer 5 questions in groups, or I'm going to join 3 groups. I'm going to comment, like, and share content. I'm going to post status updates so I can find articles maybe in Wall Street Journal or Forbes or different places on the internet. I'll share them as status updates. And then I have a lot of content that I actually schedule in Hootsuite that gets published to LinkedIn automatically. Excerpts from my book and blog posts. So you can reschedule a lot of content. I have about 60 posts that I recycle for about Twitter and about LinkedIn, so 60 each. And you can recycle those every couple months because people don't remember seeing them. They see so much information online. And a lot of times, the third or fourth time I post something, I get the best response. So you never know. And then just create those blog posts and articles you can share on Publisher. And we'll get into that debate. Should you post it on your blog and a publisher, or should you just publish it in one place and then direct people to it? So there's lots of pros and cons about it, and we'll talk about that in the class. The key there is create a schedule every day, be active on LinkedIn for 15 to 30 minutes, and you'll see an increase in your profile views and phone calls or people getting on your email list. So consistency is really the key. So at the end of the schedule time, just log off LinkedIn. Don't stay logged into it and keep jumping back and forth. Unless you're in sales, then you probably want to be on LinkedIn all day, just prospecting and connecting with people. Really stay focused on that task objective. If you say in this 15 minutes I'm going to join 5 groups, join those 5 groups. Don't go reading news articles and commenting and liking and sharing. Just really stay focused and accomplish your tasks, and you're going to see really good results. And if you have a few spare minutes throughout the day, log on, comment, share, and like other people's content, because when you share other people's content, it's like you've given a gift or something to them, and they feel like they have to pay you back. So it works really well. It's incredible. And a lot of times people will thank you for it. Or if you say happy birthday, or just when they have the new job. Ted has the new job, and 1,000 people will congratulate me on a new job, and all I did was update my profile. So when you do that for people, they really appreciate it. Okay, let's get to know what's possible on LinkedIn. I'm going to just take you on a tour all through LinkedIn now, show you all the different navigation areas and all the things you can do. So here's your home page, and at the top there's the search box where you can search for people, jobs, companies, and more. We'll do a whole lesson on just advanced search and how to use that. And then right below that, on the left side, there's my profile picture, and then that's where you can share an update. So that's like a Facebook update or a tweet. You have 180 characters or so. It keeps changing between 180, 160, 140. They keep bouncing back and forth. But you just put a short update, and I usually include a link to a blog post or a news article, something there. And if you click on the paperclip, you can attach an image. So if you're sharing quotes, like Zig Ziglar quotes go crazy for me whenever I post one of those in a banner. So you just create a little graphic image with the quote on it, and it gets like 10 times the response than if you just type the quote in text. And if you type with a pencil, that's how you get into Publisher, and I'll do a whole lesson on how to use LinkedIn Publisher, and more importantly, how to get people to actually read your content. Then this is on the left side is your timeline or your news feed. This is all the content you subscribe to or people in your network. When they post things, it'll scroll across there just like Facebook. On the right side there's people you may know, and I'll get into great detail on that because when you show up over there, most of my profile views come from there. And then LinkedIn just loves to show me this same ad over and over and over that I can be in sales at LinkedIn. I think I've seen that for like 6 months, and it just never goes away. So the next item is your profile, and this is where you edit your profile. And this has been changing a lot recently, how this works. So if you just click on the edit profile, it'll prompt you with lots of different places you can change the content. So like here, this has really changed just really in the last few weeks for me, at least my profile. LinkedIn rolls out changes almost continuously, and sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months for other people to see certain things. So it's just kind of like a rolling, continuous upgrade for them. But if I want to change my professional headline, I just click where that little pencil is, where it's blue, and I can change it there. If I want to change my industry, marketing and advertising, I could change that by clicking the pencil. So anything where you see a little pencil, click on it, and you can edit that field. Over on the right side is your profile strength. You want to get to All-Star. Once you get there, you start showing up more. The LinkedIn algorithm has enough information to really spread the word about you, and you can show up much higher in search rankings. So here's who's viewed your profile. This is just golden information. It's crazy that they're showing you this, and if you have a premium account, you get to actually see more information, which I highly recommend. I'll explain all the premium accounts throughout the course. But it's definitely worth the investment because the amount of information they're giving you, even from who's viewed your profile, can get you at least one client a week if you really work it right. But here in 90 days, I had 884 profile views. It tells me where people found me, what companies are searching for me and looking at my profile. And it tells me on the right side, see, it trends up. It's trending up right now. And it's telling me what activities I've been doing that week to make it go up. So I added 92 connections, shared 29 updates, liked 12 updates, endorsed 7 people. And that just generates more activity for my profile. And you see more people come visit my profile. So that 15 to 30 minutes a day really pays off if you do it consistently. So here's my updates. These are all the things I've published or shared. So Dr. Ron Eccles, he posted something and I liked it and commented on it. And that shows how many recent activity, 149 activity. Then I have 4,187 followers. So followers are people, when you're connected with someone, they're a follower automatically. And then also when you publish content in the LinkedIn publisher, people can follow you there without being connected to you. So I haven't been able to figure out how I can see exactly who's following me that I'm not connected with, but I'm sure they'll add that in the future. But it's great information to know. So here's the connections. And keep in touch, add connections, find alumni. That we'll go through all these. But when you click on connections, this is where every day, first thing, I'll start here. And I'll spend 2 or 3 minutes. Like, Kate Welsh has a new job. So if I know Kate, and if I don't know Kate that well, I'll click on the say congrats. And I'll send her a little personal message. And say, hey Kate, congratulations on your new job. So something thoughtful. It doesn't have to be very long. I find shorter is better. And I think about 50% of the time, people will actually email me back through LinkedIn, say, hey, thanks a lot. Or they'll post another comment, hey, thanks a lot, Ted. So this stuff really works, the happy birthdays. It's crazy, but it works. So just do it. Spend 5 minutes a day doing that. And it just keeps you top of mind with these people. And then under connections also, you can import your email contacts, which I'll do a whole video on that. Because if you have a database of email connections, you definitely want to be connected with all of them on LinkedIn. So you can import all that, and LinkedIn will tell you if you're connected on it and make it really easy to connect with them. Here's the keep in touch. Like I just mentioned, just say congrats to these people, spend a couple minutes a day, and it works. Now here's how you add connections. You import your contacts, and I'll show this in a whole video, but this is where you can, if you have Gmail or Outlook contacts or Yahoo, wherever your contacts are, and if you have a premium account, you can actually tie in your Salesforce database to this too. So any activity you have on Salesforce or on LinkedIn is captured and merged into the data. So you know when you're corresponding with these people. Alumni, they really are enhancing this section. I just saw a whole new section yesterday that you can join. And for high school kids looking for colleges, they can actually follow colleges, and it's a whole new application they've built. But after you graduate, I went to University of Pittsburgh, so who wouldn't want to connect with people that you went to school with? Because you're going to refer each other, you're going to help each other out. You have a bond there, even if you didn't go to school together, just because you went to the school, there's a connection there. So this tells me where people live now, where they work, what they do. It just gives lots of great information. That makes it really easy to connect with them by clicking on their picture. And here's the Jobs tab. Now, if you're looking for a job or want to post a job for your company, this is where you go. And like I said, most Fortune 500 companies are using LinkedIn, not exclusively, but extensively. And this is where most of LinkedIn's revenue comes from the jobs and the recruiters, those premium accounts. That's where most of their income's coming right now. Company pages are like little mini websites. They're very templated. They're not real pretty. You can't do a whole lot with them, but they have been enhancing them over the last year. The good news, if you have a company page, it shows up in your profile. You can post content there. It adds credibility to you. and also it shows up in Google searches. So your company name shows up in Google searches, and you can add keywords to it, which helps you rank really well in Google and on LinkedIn. Here are the groups. You can join up to 50 groups, and I'll go into great detail about every one of these topics throughout the course. But you can join up to 50 groups, and then if there's a subgroup of a group, you can join that. So you can grow, excuse me, you can do 50 groups and 50 subgroups. Here is Pulse. When you publish content, they have LinkedIn influencers and invited authors. So Pulse is where you can subscribe to lots of content, like different news feeds from magazines and websites, and also people posting on the Pulse and publisher. So here's my news, which I customize what I see in that little news feed. Then they recommend content related to it. You can look at top posts and discover more content. So LinkedIn said a few months ago they want to become the largest publishing platform on the internet, and they're well on their way to doing that. And if your articles get picked up by Pulse, you can see 10 to 100,000 people viewing it within hours, which is phenomenal. I've seen one woman posted something, she has over 3 million views of her article, and she's not a LinkedIn influencer or anybody special. And here's U University. This is the new, what I was just saying, how to find university rankings, University Finder. This is a whole new app that just literally appeared a few days ago in my account. It may not even be in your account yet. It's just, sometimes it takes time to show up. But they're really, really focusing on getting high school kids to sign up for LinkedIn, so when they start looking for colleges, the colleges can recruit them and vice versa. And then once they graduate from college, the recruiters and companies can find them jobs. So they're really looking at the whole chain here and embracing all three areas of it. This is the search box up at the top. If you look on the left side, this is called the Smart Search bar. So by default, all is checked, and it searches for people, jobs, companies, and all those things listed in the columns. And if you want to just look for people, you just drop down and select people, jobs, companies. So you can do more specific. And if you're looking for good content to share, you can search LinkedIn posts for certain keywords. So within your niche, if you're in healthcare or something, you can search for keywords in healthcare, and they'll show you all the posts on LinkedIn, and you can share those with your audience. So here is the search. If you just hit on the magnifying glass, it does a search, a default search. And here I've got almost 6 million results. So this is my network on LinkedIn. My first degree connections, second degree connections, and group members. And I'll go into details why you want to join the groups, even if you don't participate, because it gives you so much more reach within your networks. But with 4,000 connections, I am one email away from almost 6 million people. So this is so powerful. And here's the advanced people search. I'll do a whole lesson on this, whole video just on advanced search, but you can search by keywords, skills, where they went to school, what companies. You can search by location. And with premium accounts, you get more access. You can search groups, years of experience, functions. So the more money you pay LinkedIn, the more data they'll give you. That's the bottom line. So if you start getting clients on here, it's definitely worth the premium accounts. I think some are $60 to $100 a month, but you think about it, if you paid $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. If you get one client a year, you're going to make more than $1,200 from that one client. So don't think of it as $100 a month. Think of it as maybe a client a week. Here's my inbox, and the more people you connect to, the more email you'll get. I ignore quite a bit of it. You see I have 217 unread ones, and I'll just kind of scan that, and for the most part I ignore most emails people send me on LinkedIn because I just don't want to be checking inboxes everywhere, and a lot of them are solicitations, so that's how you access it. These are notifications, so when I have people want to connect with me, they'll show up here, and then LinkedIn will say you maybe want to connect here, or when people publish content, and that can get kind of annoying, and you can actually unsubscribe from that so you don't get all these notifications when everybody publishes things, but I want to know when certain people publish, because then I can go over there and like and comment and share it and help them out. It's a great way if you want to get in with a company, start following that company, follow people within that company, and whenever they post, like, comment, and share it, and they're going to notice your name over time that you're supporting them, and they're going to reach out to you. And here's people you may know. I can add connections. This is where I could import my contacts, or if I have invitations waiting, or I want to reach out right there. Over here on the far right, there's a little image, your thumbnail image. This is where you can dig into all the different things you've subscribed to. Like if I have a Sales Navigator account, I can manage it there. I can jump right into it. I have a business account also. And if I wanted to post jobs, I would go there, advertise, manage my company page, change my language. And privacy and settings is a big area. I'm going to go through that in detail, because that's where you can turn off notifications, turn off emails that come to you, or set them to come once a week. And really control your security on there, because LinkedIn will share your information and use it unless you tell them not to. So I'll show you how to do that too. Here's the business services tab. Just another way to get to those same things that were under that other tab. So there's like 3 or 4 ways to get to everything on LinkedIn in the menus. So they could use a little overhaul with their interface in some respects. So here's if you want to post a job, here's the details, and it costs money to post a job. That's where they make their money. But it's a great place to find a job or to find great employees. And here's for recruiters, the talent solutions. They're pretty extensive. They're really growing these areas because this is their bread and butter. This is where they make their money. Here's the targeted advertising. I'll do some videos on how to use that. LinkedIn ads are very hit or miss. Certain ads work really well. Some are not so good. I'll show you where not to waste your money. And here's the Sales Navigator. They're making a big push for this, and it's actually a great tool. So I've been enjoying it. I can actually follow certain companies that I'd want to get into. Then you follow certain people. You save them as leads, and every time they post, I get a message, so I can go over, like, comment, and share it, or interact with them whenever they do that. So, and then they'll start suggesting leads, which is really cool. Based on my activity within Sales Navigator, they'll say, you also may want to follow this person and have them as a lead and start connecting with them. So it's great. LinkedIn has so many ways they automate things for us, but they're just terrible at explaining it to us. And then here's the Sales Navigator, more details. And here's some of the plans, and we can go through this in the group calls, what's best for you. The $64.69 a month, billed annually, that gives me a lot of information. And I can go up to the next level. So if I went up to the next level, I'd get 30 in-mails a month as opposed to 15. And I'll explain in-mails in the group calls if you want. I'll actually do some videos on them too. But basically, the more money you pay, the more information they give you. And I find the professional at $64.99 is plenty of information. It gives me a lot of... One of the things is the open profile. They've changed that now. Sorry about that. But there's a thing called the open network. So if you're in the professional category, you have a professional account, you join this open network, it's called, and I can email anybody that's on the open network without using an in-mail, because in-mails cost $10 a piece if you buy them separately. So I can just, through this other network, just send people messages and they can contact me without being connected. It's a really great way to expand your reach. You can reach out to so many more people that way and not have to use in-mails. Then here's recruiters. If you're a recruiter, they have different options for you. And then here's for if you want to seek a job. If you're looking for a job, this is Job Seeker Premium. And they have an annual plan. It doesn't take you a year to find a job, but you can subscribe by the month. And what happens, there are when you apply for a job and you're a Job Seeker Premium account, they put your resumes at the top of the pile for the recruiters that post the job. So you get definitely a benefit there. So if you know somebody looking for a job, tell them they should look into paying whatever it is, $39 or $64 a month until they find a job. I mean, within 2 or 3 months, you should have a job using LinkedIn. But here are some of the plans, and you can look at these at your leisure. We won't get into great detail unless you really want to talk about these. So here are some LinkedIn ads I ran for I just ran a couple days. I ran to get people on the webinar. I think I end up getting about 125 clicks total by the end of this. And I think 30 people actually registered, 32 people registered for the webinar. And these are high quality registrations. I was targeting just sales professionals in companies that had over 1,000 employees. So I was looking for large sales companies with large sales forces. And I got some really good leads, and I know a lot of them were on the webinar, and I got some good feedback from some of them. So that's a great way to get really good quality leads. It costs a little more than Facebook, but that's much higher quality. And here's my company page. I'm always experimenting with it. We were doing some tests in one of my classes, and we saw that some companies were ranking for certain keywords just by putting the keywords at the beginning of their company name. So I put on online lead generation by my company name, Search Marketing Simplified, and I ranked really well for that. So it's kind of a trick. It works though. So here's the settings. Here's where you dig in, where you can control your profile. There's 4 sections on the left side at the bottom. Profile, communications, group, companies and applications, and account. So let's go through these. There's communications, there's groups and companies and applications, and there's your account. So let's dig into these because lots of information here. So your profile, this is where you can turn off your broadcasts. Some people, when they're working for a company, they don't want information being broadcasted on LinkedIn. They have to kind of keep it quiet. And I work with a lot of financial advisors and other professionals that have compliance issues. So they can't broadcasting because it can be considered advertising. So here are the activity broadcasts, how you can turn them on or off. And I highly recommend going through this, spending a few minutes a day over a week or so. Don't try to do all of it at once because there's a lot of settings in here. But definitely go through here and clean this up. And you have to go through it every couple months, about once a quarter, once or every 6 months. Go through it because a lot of times they'll change the privacy things or change certain things. And you want to make sure you're displaying the right things. So here I could display my activity feed only to me, my connections, my network, or everyone. Obviously I want it to go to everyone. Here's what people see. When I view your profile, this is what you would see. It would see my whole profile, my name, and my professional headline, where some people choose anonymous or totally anonymous. And what LinkedIn's done in the past couple years, if you choose anonymous, they won't show you as much information about me either. So you can't just go hide. A lot of people would be anonymous and they'd be trying to steal customers or trolling for new clients. They don't get to see very much information, which is great. Who can see your connections? This is an important setting for, I used to work at a software company and we'd had a lot of salespeople that worked together. But now they've all, like 2 people have left. They work for different companies who are competitors now. So if they looked at each other's connections, usually you're connected with your customers. So they can actually go and look at each other's customers and steal them. So if you're in sales and have those kind of issues, set it to only you. I really don't care who sees my connections. I have over 4,000 and I don't think my competitors are going to come and steal my customers. But, if they want to, great, go for it. Now, who can follow your updates? So everyone can follow my updates. When I post updates, I can just say only let my connections follow. So I'm not sure why you'd want to just keep that. I guess if you have issues, you don't want things to go out to everybody. Maybe you don't want your competitors to see a certain thing you're publishing. So you just let your connections see it. Here's your profile photo. I always recommend a professional headshot where you're looking at the camera smiling, and now you can crop it. They just added this recently, and it shows you how it'll show up across LinkedIn in the different places. So this is a nice little feature they've added. And here, display viewers of this profile also viewed. That's in the right column, and I get a lot of profile views from that area too. So for some reason, I don't want to show that on mine. Sometimes you have compliance issues. You can turn that off. But here's what I would also say: like when people looked at my profile, these are other people that they have looked at after they viewed my profile. So we see Perry Marshall, a friend of mine, Vivica's a friend of mine, Josh is a friend of mine. So a lot of these people I work with and I'm good friends with, and we're in the same industry. So this can display in your sidebar. I would say just leave it unless you have to. So here, if you have somebody really annoying, you can block them. I'm not blocking them right now. I've only had I think 2 or 3 people were just spamming me so much and being too aggressive. So I actually disconnected from them. And I can show you how to do that too. It's really easy to do. And I'm really 2 or 3 people. For the most part, when you connect to someone, 99% of the time you'll never hear from them again. And there's some aggressive marketers that will be sending you a lot of emails or inviting you to weekly webinars. I have one guy recently just sending me stock trades like 3 times a week. It's like, I don't want your stock trades, please. And if you email them, usually they'll take you off their list. They won't bug you. And if they continue to bug you, then just disconnect or block them. And here's the anonymous profile, viewers of your profile. This explains the whole process of it. And like I said, if you go anonymous, you're not going to see as much data about the other people either. So it works both ways. I don't see any reason to be anonymous and try to hide from people on LinkedIn personally. You definitely want to add your Twitter account to this because you can put your updates. They can go out to Twitter at the same time. They used to show all your Twitter activity on the news feed, but it got too busy. So they turned that part off. But now everything you post here, you can send to Twitter at the same time. And you can display your Twitter account on your LinkedIn profile, which I highly recommend because we want to get the word out about us. And WeChat. If you use WeChat, you can integrate it here. I don't use it, so I don't have it set up here. So here's your basic information. A lot of people, not a lot, but I've seen people use their display name. They'll just do first name and the last initial, which you can do that if you want. My whole goal on LinkedIn is to get found, so I don't want to hide from people and make it hard for them to find me. Then here's where you change your professional headline. I'll do a whole section on that because that's where you're going to grab people's attention and get them to know, like, and trust you right away. And just fill out your information, what you feel is appropriate. Choose the right industry. And then this is what it'll look like when you're done with that editing. And a new thing they've added too, you can view your profile as what a connection would see or as what a group member. So they have different options now. So you can see you have a personal profile and a public profile, which most people don't know either. The public profile shows up on Google searches to people that aren't on LinkedIn. And it's a great way to get information out about you and your company. So definitely I'll show you how to configure the public and the personal profile. The personal profile is only viewed by people that are on LinkedIn and logged into LinkedIn, where the public can go everywhere, which is great. So here's what your profile looks like as connections or by public. And here's how you customize your public profile. And like I said, I show my picture, my headline. I want all that stuff to go out to the internet. That goes out onto Google. Google loves LinkedIn. So all this information about me is going out. And when people search my name, a lot of my LinkedIn content will show up here. And recommendations, here's where you can display your recommendations. When people give them to you, they're in a queue and you have to approve them before they go onto your timeline or into your account. So, and then if you recommend someone, it'll prompt them to recommend you back. So a lot of times when I work with people, whether I'm finishing a project, I'll write a recommendation and let people know my experience of working with that person. And then most of the time they'll give me a recommendation back. So here's the recommendation. And if I want to add to my profile, or I can say request changes and send it back to her and say, please, can you change this? Or don't say this instead. And a lot of times you can just write something and they'll still accept it for you. And then here's where it prompts you to give her a recommendation back. Now here's the communication section. Here's where you can stop all the emails, messages from people. If you don't want to be annoyed by group updates, this is where you can control all that. We all get more than enough email in our regular inboxes, so so I definitely want individual emails from invitations to connect. Invitations to join groups, I don't get those very often, so I just leave that alone. Messages from connections, I definitely want to know when somebody's trying to reach out to me. And in mail, so these are people I could potentially do business with, so I want those emails to come through. So network updates, I get a daily digest email, or I can turn it off completely. But I like to see at the end of the day, it gets an email and it just says, you know, what so-and-so has posted, or just so I don't have to see if I missed it going through the timeline. It's just a good way to just reach out to people and say, oh, Joe's posting about his new product that's coming out. So you want to go out there and help him promote that product, or, you know, help him in some way. Same thing with LinkedIn Pulse. You can do digest of all the Pulse posts. So you can get a lot of emails. I do turn off some of them, and I just kind of play around with it and see. If I get overwhelmed with too many messages, I usually back off on the setting. And here's the group digest. Most groups I don't get any email from. I don't care, because there's not that much conversation in most groups anymore. It's mostly just people posting content. But there's some groups that actually there are some interactions, so I want to get that information and get the emails. I don't want an email every time there's a comment, but I do want it like at the end of a day, so I can go into that group and do some comments. And here's more notifications. Definitely want, when people comment on my posts, I want to know, or when they accept my invitation. Those are settings you just want to customize for your own use. And if you get too many emails, you can just, you know, turn them off or back off on them. And then here's push notifications. Again, you just configure it the way, you know, when somebody comments on it, you want to know. Somebody likes your update. Tells you lots of information. And here's where you can configure the open profile messages. If you want introductions, you want to receive those or not. And opportunities. You know, I don't want career opportunities, but I want expertise requests, consulting offers. So people don't seem to use that as much, but when they do send you an in-mail, it'll use those categories. So if somebody wants to interview me or something, I have a business deal for me, they'll send me an in-mail, and one of the options they'll choose is business deals. So somebody will say, you know, Joe wants to do a business deal with you. And then advice to people who are contacting you, fill that in. Most people don't fill this in, but you know, so the easiest way to contact me is email me or call me. I want people to call me so I can get them on the phone and see if we're a fit to do work together. And then who can send you invitations? Anyone on LinkedIn. I'm totally open. I want to grow my network. Or a lot of people do, they'll import all their contacts that they're already connected with, and that's only people that can send them invitations. Or people who appear in the imported contacts. So people want to build their network in a different way through another channel, and then let them come through LinkedIn just if they're in this contact. So it's very limiting. But some people prefer that. They don't want to grow their networks very big. And here's partner in-mails. I highly suggest unchecking these, because there's actually a paid thing you can do. When people send in-mails, they can have ads in them. So if you don't want to be included in those, you know, you don't want promotional things from LinkedIn marketing partners or hiring campaign partners, turn those off. Next section, groups, companies, and applications. So here's how you can change the order of the groups you belong to. Like most groups are pretty inactive, but I join them just because they have so many people in them. It gives me access to those people just by emailing them. So here are the groups I belong to. Like the Media Professionals Worldwide has 35 conversations going on right now, so that's a good one. I can jump in and comment. Social Media Marketing, there's 69. And I've tried to join that. I was in that group for a long time, and then I jumped out of it, and I tried to join again. They've exceeded their 1,000,000 member limit, and they can't approve any more people. So there's 69 active. That was a very active one, but I was trying not to be in too many peer groups, so I just had to drop a few. So here's where you can change your frequency. We already changed that in one setting, but here's another place you can change those same settings. And I'm open to receiving group invitations. Same with, we saw this setting in the other section too. So here, whenever I join the group, it'll send it out to my whole network saying, hey, Ted joined this group. You can turn that on or off. I don't really care if people know what groups I join or not. Maybe you do. You can turn it off there. Here's companies I'm following. And then here's external applications like Hootsuite. I have connected here, and I LinkedIn. But Hootsuite, I have a lot of content published from Hootsuite. I queue it up to sort of like status updates that get posted 3 or 4 times a day, and then they link to my website to download free chapters of my books. So they're literally excerpts from my books that I've had somebody write for me, and then they're in a spreadsheet that I upload to Hootsuite. It automatically queues that up. So as you connect with it, it's like your Twitter account. When you connect your Twitter account to all these applications, it tells you what you're connected to. Here, you definitely want to turn this off. Do you want to share your data with third-party applications? I don't. And here's your account. So manage your advertising. There used to have a thing where definitely uncheck this because they use cookies and similar technologies on third-party sites. So they kind of watch your browsing habits with cookies, and then they'll target you with ads based on that. And they had a setting, I don't know if it's still in here, where they could actually take your profile picture and your professional headline and your name and show it in ads on other websites. So you had to turn that off manually too. They got a lot of heat for that one. So here's where I can change my photo again. And then here, there's another setting. My photo is visible to my connections, my network, or everyone. So if some people don't want to share their picture for some reason, unless you're connected, I find it when somebody tries to connect with me, they don't have a profile picture. I like to see them, see what they're like, get to know them, see if they're professional, see if they're, a crazy person, who knows, but I let everybody see my photo. And then here you can control what shows up on your home page. So if you're getting too much information scrolling across, you can turn off any of these. And here's more security settings. I definitely do the secure connection when you're browsing LinkedIn. This is that secure HTTPS. So you have a secure connection between your computer and LinkedIn, so people can't read all the information you're transmitting back and forth from LinkedIn. And you can also have a 2-step verification for sign-in. So instead of just sending your username and login, then it would require you to enter a verification code when you have a new device or mobile application. So I don't have that turned on. And here you can add different email addresses. And here's where you change your password. This is a really interesting thing they added last year. You can actually download everything you've done on LinkedIn since you joined. And I downloaded it. It's this huge data file. And it shows all the things you posted, all the people you connected to, all kinds of information. One good thing it did, it had email addresses of everybody I connected with, which is pretty good if you want to start emailing them. But technically, you cannot download all these email addresses and put them in your Infusionsoft or Constant Contact account and start mailing them directly without their permission. So I've seen some people do that recently, and I didn't like it at all. Cause they said, oh, we're LinkedIn connections. They tried to start the message off, we're LinkedIn connections. I'd like to keep in touch with you on my personal email too. And I said, no, No thanks. So, but this, it's incredible that they give you your whole data archive. I don't know really what the reason is for that, but it's there if you want to play with it. And if you want to close your account, this is how you do it. So your homework. If you don't know your ideal client, and even if you do identify know who your ideal client is, there's a workshop in the members area that you can download. It just asks you some questions, but you want to know all the demographics of your ideal client. Where do they live? What are their hobbies? What are they? Is it men? Is it women? What age groups? Everything you can find about them. What companies? What's the best company size? Is your ideal clients your best customers Fortune 500 companies? Are they companies between 200 and 500 employees? So you need to, over time, compile as much information as you can about that, because then you can set up targeted searches on LinkedIn, and it's going to connect you to all these people automatically. And then determine your LinkedIn objective. Are you going to be on here trying to generate leads? Are you going to grow your network? Are you going to try to establish yourself as an authority in your industry? Really figure out why you're going to be using LinkedIn as your primary use. You're going to use it for all those things, but there's really one main reason you want to be on LinkedIn. And then review your competitors' profiles and watch how they use LinkedIn and other social media to promote their business. Just watch other people. If you see people that are very active, kind of follow them around, see what they do, what groups they belong to, how they interact with other people. How many, I noticed a couple of people that get more profile views than me, and they post 3 or 4 or 5 articles an hour on LinkedIn. They're just blasting content constantly, and it's getting more profile views for them. So it works. Join groups which your competitors are active in. So really kind of watch what your competitors are up to and join those same groups and jump into the conversations. And join groups where your ideal clients are and hang out. And that's important. I joined a lot of groups at first. They were just peer groups. And that was great. But then I said, well, I've got 49 peer groups in one group where my potential clients are. But a lot of times my potential clients are in the peer groups too. So you have to balance it. I like to be in about 1/3 groups with my peers and 2/3 where my ideal clients are. And see who your competitors are connected to. If they let you see their contacts, you can just start connecting with those people too. That's a lot of big salespeople do. If they have an opportunity to see who their competitors connected to, they know they're potential clients for them. And just spend time playing around with the LinkedIn interface. Update your security settings. Do everything. Go through what we just went through, and make sure you turn on those security settings where they need to be, and don't get too many emails. And just play around with it. Get really familiar with it. There's so much opportunity on LinkedIn. It's amazing. And that's it for today. Next lesson, we're going to start building your LinkedIn foundation. So we're going to talk about your profile and start optimizing it so people really know from your professional headline how you can help them and you'll stand out from the crowd. That's it for today. Thanks, everybody.